Welcome to the deep dive.
Mm.
You know, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different.
Oh.
Yeah. Instead of our usual deep dives into history or science today,
Mm.
we're diving into the very nature of understanding.
Wow.
Yeah, how we perceive the world and ourselves and the really big questions of existence.
So it's like a deep dive into deep thinking.
Exactly. And, to guide us on this journey, we have a really fascinating mix of sources.
Yeah. Like what?
Well, we've got encyclopedia entries on philosophy and writings from different philosophers,
Oh, cool.
and even some connections to art and science.
That's awesome. So where do we even begin with something this big?
Well, the sources actually start with something very relatable, the argument from illusion.
Okay.
And it uses everyday moments where our senses kind of trick us.
I've definitely had that happen.
Oh, yeah, me too.
What kind of examples are we talking about?
Well, like the classic example is a stick appearing bent in water when you put it in.
Right. Right.
And it makes us question if we can ever truly trust what we perceive.
Hmm. That's a good point.
I was reading that night. It made me think about all the times I've totally misjudged a situation or a person
Oh, yeah.
based on just first impressions.
It happens.
And it's like, how much of what I think I know is just an illusion created by my own limited perspective.
That's a great connection. The argument from illusion, it's not just about optical illusions.
Right.
It's about recognizing the limitations of our senses and, the potential for our perception to be skewed.
And that leads us perfectly into another fascinating concept from the source's aesthetic judgment.
Aesthetic judgment.
Yeah, beauty in the eye of the beholder, right?
Right.
But the sources really dig into that.
Oh, yeah.
They talk about how even expert art critics can have totally different opinions on the same piece.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if there's any objective standard of beauty at all.
That's the heart of the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
The sources highlight this tension between subjective experience and the search for objective truth. We make aesthetic judgments all the time about art, music, nature, even people.
Right?
But is beauty truly in the eye of the beholder? Or are there underlying principles at play?
And it's a question that has real-world implications, too.
Oh.
Think about the influence of trends in fashion.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Are we drawn to certain aesthetics because they genuinely appeal to us? Or are we influenced by societal pressures and marketing?
That's a great point. What we consider beautiful, it seems like such a complex interplay of personal preference,
Yeah.
cultural conditioning, and perhaps even some universal principles we haven't fully grasped yet.
Right.
But these early sources, they're just scratching the surface. They're meant to get us thinking about how we perceive and judge the world around us.
Okay. So we've got our senses in question, our artistic judgments up in the air. I'm ready to go deeper. What's next on this philosophical journey?
Now we're going to dive into the very nature of reality itself.
Okay.
And one of the key concepts the sources explore is atomism.
Atomism. Okay. I remember this from science class.
Yeah.
It's the idea that everything is made up of these tiny particles called atoms, right?
Exactly. But it's not just a scientific concept.
Okay.
It has profound philosophical implications as well. The sources trace this idea all the way back to the ancient Greeks,
Wow.
showing how long humans have been grappling with the fundamental building blocks of reality.
So it's not just about knowing that atoms exist. It's about how that knowledge shapes our understanding of the world,
Yeah,
right? Does
absolutely.
it change how we view ourselves, our relationships, even the meaning of life?
Think about it. Your chair, your phone, we're all just collections of these tiny particles interacting in incredibly complex ways.
Wow.
It shifts our perspective from seeing ourselves as separate individuals to recognizing our interconnectedness at a fundamental level.
That's mind-blowing. It makes you feel both incredibly small and strangely connected to everything around you.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, if everything is just atoms, what does that mean for things like consciousness and free will?
Yeah.
Are those just illusions too?
Those are some of the big questions that philosophers have been wrestling with for centuries.
Right.
And the sources definitely touch on them. But before we get too deep into those debates, it's important to understand where these ideas came from.
Okay.
We need to meet some of the minds who shaped our understanding of the universe and our place within it.
You're right. These aren't just abstract concepts floating around. They came from people who dedicated their lives to grappling with these fundamental questions.
Oh, exactly.
Let's meet some of those philosophers.
Let's. The sources introduce us to a diverse range of thinkers with contrasting viewpoints,
That's
which
true.
makes it all the more fascinating.
Okay.
For example, we have Augustine, a philosopher who emphasized the role of God and the soul.
Okay, so Augustine represents a more spiritual or religious perspective, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
His philosophy was heavily influenced by his Christian beliefs,
Okay.
and he saw the pursuit of knowledge as a way to better understand God's creation and our place within it.
That makes sense. But I'm guessing not all the philosophers shared that viewpoint.
You're absolutely right. The sources also introduce us to A.J. Ayer, a proponent of logical positivism, who rejected metaphysical concepts altogether.
Okay, so I've got Augustine the believer and Ayer the skeptic.
Hmm.
What were their main points of disagreement?
Well, one of their key differences lies in their understanding of what constitutes valid knowledge.
Okay.
Augustine believed that true knowledge could be attained through faith and divine revelation,
Hmm.
while Ayer argued that only statements verifiable through empirical observation or logical analysis were meaningful.
So for Ayer, things like God the soul, or even abstract concepts like beauty, were essentially meaningless because they couldn't be scientifically proven.
Precisely, he saw those concepts as belonging to the realm of metaphysics,
Okay.
which he considered to be outside the scope of meaningful inquiry.
Wow, talk about a clash of worldviews. It's amazing to see how brilliant minds can arrive at such different conclusions.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing the sources aren't trying to say that one is right and the other is wrong, right?
You're catching on. It's not about declaring a winner in this philosophical debate.
Okay.
It's about recognizing the diversity of thought that exists and encouraging us to critically examine these different perspectives.
It's like by seeing how these philosophers grappled with these big questions, we can start to form our own opinions and develop our own philosophical frameworks.
Exactly. And as we delve deeper into these sources, we'll encounter even more thought-provoking ideas and perspectives
Cool.
that will challenge us to expand our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. But before we move on, there's another fascinating aspect I want to touch on.
Yeah.
The question of atheism and the meaning of life.
Oh, yes. This is something I've always pondered.
Okay.
If there's no God, does that mean everything is pointless? Is there any inherent meaning to our existence?
Those are some of the biggest questions humanity has ever grappled with.
For sure.
And the sources don't shy away from them.
Oh, good.
They present various arguments both for and against the existence of God, and how those beliefs tie into our understanding of life's purpose.
I'm really curious to hear more about those arguments, but
Yeah.
I know this can be a sensitive topic for many people, so I appreciate you approaching it with care.
Absolutely. It's not about pushing any particular belief system,
Okay.
but rather about exploring the range of thought on this issue and encouraging you to consider the different ways people have grappled with these existential questions.
Okay. I'm ready to dive into that, but first I'm curious about something.
Yeah.
We've been talking about these big ideas, these philosophical concepts, but it all feels a bit abstract right now.
Okay.
How do we bridge the gap between these abstract ideas and our everyday lives?
That's a great question, and it's something the sources address directly.
Oh.
They encourage us to not just consume this information passively,
Yeah.
but to actively reflect on how it resonates with our own experiences, beliefs, and values.
So it's about taking these philosophical ideas out of the textbooks and applying them to our own lives.
Exactly. It's about using these ideas as tools to better understand ourselves, our relationships, and our place in the world. And that's where the real power of philosophy lies, in its ability to transform not just our thinking,
Right.
but our very way of being. So, as we go deeper into these sources, it becomes clear that a lot of these philosophical questions are interconnected.
Okay.
Like, for example, this whole discussion about atheism and the meaning of life,
Uh-huh.
it ties directly into another concept that's like woven throughout these sources,
Okay.
free will.
Oh, wow, you're right. If everything is predetermined, does that mean our choices don't really matter?
Yeah.
Do we even have free will?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? These sources, they offer a glimpse into different perspectives on this age-old debate.
Okay.
Some philosophers, like the Stoics, believed we have like a degree of free will,
Okay.
that we can choose how we respond to external events.
Okay.
Others, like the determinists, argue that our actions are ultimately determined by prior causes,
Right.
leaving no room for true choice.
So it's like a philosophical tug of war between free will and determinism.
Yeah.
But how can we even begin to reconcile these opposing viewpoints?
What's fascinating is that the sources don't try to give us a definitive answer.
Okay.
Instead, they present these arguments and encourage us to grapple with the implications of each viewpoint. It's about expanding our thinking, not settling for easy answers.
And that's what I love about philosophy. It's not about dogma.
Right.
It's about asking these tough questions and exploring the different ways people have tried to answer them.
Exactly. And, one of the most compelling aspects of this debate
Yeah.
is how it ties into the concept of responsibility.
Responsibility, okay.
If our actions are predetermined, can we truly be held accountable for them?
Whoa, that's a deep thought.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you rethink our whole justice system, our moral codes,
Right.
even our personal relationships.
Yeah.
If someone wrongs us, but they had no choice in the matter, can we truly blame them?
That's the ethical dilemma at the heart of the free will debate.
Yeah.
And these sources challenge us to examine our own assumptions about responsibility. Do we hold ourselves and others to different standards if we believe that free will is an illusion?
It's like suddenly things aren't so black and white anymore.
Right.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew about right and wrong.
And that complexity is what makes philosophy so compelling.
Yeah.
It's not about providing easy answers, but rather about expanding our awareness and deepening our understanding of the human condition.
Okay.
And speaking of challenging assumptions,
Yeah.
the sources also introduce us to the idea of cultural relativism.
Cultural relativism. Okay, refresh my memory on this one.
Essentially, cultural relativism argues that moral values and beliefs are not absolute,
Okay.
but are relative to the culture or society in which they are held.
So what might be considered right or wrong in one culture could be totally different in another.
Precisely. And the sources do a great job of highlighting the challenges,
Yeah.
understanding and navigating a world where different cultures have different moral frameworks.
Right.
It really pushes us to question whether there are any universal moral principles that can be applied across all societies.
I can see that would create some tricky situations.
Yeah.
If everything is relative, how do we even begin to judge actions or beliefs that seem harmful or oppressive?
That's a crucial question, and one that the sources don't shy away from.
Okay, good.
They encourage us to grapple with this tension.
Okay.
The tension between respecting cultural diversity and upholding fundamental human rights.
Right.
It's an ongoing dialogue, and there's no easy solution.
Yeah.
But by exploring these complex issues, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the diverse world we live in.
It seems like a lot of these philosophical concepts are pushing us toward nuance and critical thinking rather than rigid beliefs or absolute truths.
You're spot on. These sources are really emphasizing the importance of open-minded inquiry and intellectual humility.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that our understanding of the world is always evolving.
Right.
And that there's always more to learn.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Free will determinism, cultural relativism. It's a lot to process. I'm starting to see a pattern here, though.
Oh, yeah.
These sources keep presenting these mind-bending questions without offering easy answers. Is that intentional?
I think so. Remember, the goal of philosophy isn't to provide us with a set of prepackaged answers,
Right.
but to cultivate critical thinking, intellectual curiosity, and a willingness to embrace the complexities of life.
It's like we're being given a set of mental tools to navigate the world,
Yeah.
rather than a pre-programmed GPS that tells us exactly where to go.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, what's the point of all this questioning if there are no clear-cut solutions?
That's where things get really interesting. By
Okay.
wrestling with these questions,
Yeah.
by challenging our assumptions and exploring different perspectives, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and deeper understanding. It's about the journey of self-discovery, not just the destination.
I like that. It's
Yeah.
about expanding our minds, challenging our beliefs,
Yeah.
and ultimately becoming more thoughtful, engaged individuals.
Exactly. And as we continue our deep dive, we'll see how these philosophical inquiries can lead us to a more meaningful and fulfilling understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
Okay. I'm ready to keep exploring. Where do we go from here?
Well, we've talked about these big abstract concepts, the nature of reality, the meaning of life, free will.
Right.
But now let's bring it back to a more personal level.
Okay. I'm intrigued. How do these philosophical ideas translate into our everyday lives?
That's where things get really powerful. These sources challenge us to reflect on how these concepts resonate with our own experiences, our own values, and our own sense of purpose.
So it's like taking all this heady philosophy and applying it to our own lives,
Yeah.
seeing how it shapes our perspectives and choices.
Precisely. The sources encourage us to ask ourselves, how do these ideas change how we view ourselves or relationships or place in the world?
It's almost like holding up a mirror to our own minds and seeing how these philosophical ideas reflect back on us, revealing things we might not have noticed before.
That's a great way to put it, and that's where the real transformative potential lies. By engaging with these ideas on a personal level,
Okay.
we can gain a deeper understanding of who we are, what we value, and how we want to live our lives.
I'm excited to delve into that. But before we do, is there anything else from these sources that we should touch on before we get too personal? Any other big ideas we need to unpack?
Well, as I was going through these sources,
Yeah.
one concept kept popping up
Okay.
that I think is really important to address,
Oh,
the
yeah.
concept of truth.
Ooh, truth. That's a big one.
Yeah.
What are these sources saying about truth? Is it absolute or is it relative? Can we ever truly know anything for certain?
Those are some of the fundamental questions philosophers have been grappling with for centuries.
Yeah.
And these sources offer a diverse range of perspectives on the nature of truth.
Okay, I'm ready to dive into this. Let's talk truth.
It's like we're both a work in progress and a masterpiece in the making. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, and this perspective, really resonates with me because it honors both the stability and the fluidity of who we are.
Right.
But, all this talk about identity and the self,
Yeah.
it brings us back to a fundamental question that's been woven throughout these sources. The question of purpose.
Purpose? Yeah.
If we're these complex, multifaceted beings constantly evolving and becoming,
Right.
what is the point of it all? What is our purpose in life?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's one that I think a lot of people struggle with.
For sure.
If there's no predetermined plan, no set path, how do we find our own unique purpose?
That's a question that has puzzled philosophers for centuries, and these sources offer a variety of perspectives.
Okay.
Some suggest that our purpose is to find happiness and fulfillment,
Okay.
to live a life of pleasure and contentment.
Okay.
Others argue that our purpose is to make a difference in the world, to contribute to something larger than ourselves. And still others believe that our purpose is to simply be to experience life fully and authentically,
Oh.
without needing to attach a specific meaning or goal to it.
Wow. So there's no right or wrong answer. It's really up to each individual to define their own purpose.
That's what these sources seem to suggest. They emphasize the importance of self-discovery,
Okay.
of exploring our values, passions, and talents, and of aligning our actions with what feels meaningful and fulfilling to us.
That makes sense, but it also feels a bit daunting. If there's no roadmap, no set of instructions,
Right.
how do we even begin to figure out what our purpose is?
That's where things get interesting.
Oh,
The sources encourage us to approach this question with curiosity and openness,
okay.
rather than fear and pressure.
I like that.
Yeah. And they suggest that we can discover our purpose through a variety of means.
Okay, like what?
Through introspection and reflection, through experimentation and exploration, through connecting with others and engaging with the world around us.
So it's not necessarily something we figure out in a single moment of epiphany,
Right.
but rather something we uncover gradually through trial and error, through living and learning.
Exactly. And the sources emphasize that this journey of discovering our purpose
Yeah.
is often as important as the destination itself.
Okay.
It's through the process of seeking that we evolve and ultimately come to a deeper understanding of who we are and what we're meant to do with our lives.
I love that it takes the pressure off of having to have all the answers right now,
Right.
and instead encourages us to embrace the journey of self-discovery.
But I have to ask, what if we never find our one true purpose?
Hmm.
What if we have multiple passions and interests? Or what if our purpose changes over time?
Those are great questions, and the sources acknowledge that there's no one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to purpose.
Okay.
Some people might have a clear sense of their calling from a young age,
Right.
while others might spend years or even a lifetime exploring different paths.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
So it's not about finding the perfect purpose,
Right.
but rather about living a life that feels meaningful and aligned with our values.
Exactly. And the sources emphasize that purpose isn't necessarily something grand or extraordinary.
Right.
It can be found in the everyday moments, in the simple acts of kindness, in the connections we make with others,
Yeah.
and in the pursuit of our passions, no matter how big or small.
I find that really comforting.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off of having to achieve some great feat
Yeah.
and instead allows us to find purpose in the ordinary and the everyday beauty of life.
Right.
But I have to ask, how do we know when we're on the right track? What are some signs that we're living in alignment with our purpose?
That's a great question. The sources suggest that when we're living in alignment with our purpose, we often experience a sense of flow energy and enthusiasm. We feel a deep sense of satisfaction and fulfillment in what we're doing,
Okay.
and our work feels effortless and joyful.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where our passions and talents intersect with the needs of the world.
Exactly. And when we're living in alignment with our purpose,
Yeah.
we often feel a sense of connection to something larger than ourselves.
Okay.
We feel like we're part of something meaningful and important,
Right.
and our work has a positive impact on others.
Wow, that's really inspiring. It makes you want to go out and find your purpose right now.
I know. And as we're wrapping up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I think it's important to emphasize that philosophy isn't just about pondering these big questions in the abstract.
Right.
It's about applying these insights to our own lives and using them to create a more meaningful and fulfilling existence.
You're absolutely right. It's been an incredible journey,
Yeah.
exploring these profound concepts and seeing how they connect to our everyday lives.
Yeah, it has.
But before we go, is there one final takeaway,
Yeah.
one nugget of wisdom
Okay.
that you want to leave our listeners with?
After going through all these sources,
Yeah.
one thing that really sticks with me is the importance of embracing the journey.
The journey.
The journey of self-discovery, the journey of seeking truth, the journey of finding our purpose. These are ongoing processes, not destinations.
Right.
And it's through the ups and downs, the twists and turns, that we truly grow, learn, and evolve.
That's a beautiful message to end on. Embrace the journey, folks. And thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of philosophy.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
It's been an absolute pleasure exploring these big ideas with you.
The pleasure was all mine. Until next time.